The Pete Carroll Show. The first word from the Seahawks head coach every Monday at 9:30 with Mike Saul. Brought to you by Pizza Hut on 710 ESPN Seattle.
Coach Carroll sitting down with us right now. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Oh, are you asking?
Not really. I was just being polite, I guess.
Thanks.
I'm
Appreciate
sorry.
that.
What happened yesterday, Coach?
Well, we were rolling along, and I liked the way the game was going. You know, we're feeling like we were some of the things we want to get done. We were slowing them down on defense. We were winning on third down. We were taking care of the quarterback and with the pass rush in the first half. And, you know, we missed our opportunity to get the second score there, in the 2-minute situation. And we would have been in pretty good shape right there. And we weren't able to get that done. But and then in the second half, there's a handful of plays that and they kind of came in a bit of a flurry. And a few of them were the same kind of plays, Mike. They were like in behind us in our zone stuff. And they were able to make explosive plays on them, you know. And it's deep to short defense where you try to make them dump the ball underneath you. We didn't do it properly, and we broke down. And it happened a couple weeks ago too, you know. And so that's alarming to me that we didn't fix an issue that we saw back in Minnesota that was very similar, you know. And they had the big play, you know, the big third down play when they checked it, and they were very fortunate that happened. But that was a significant play, and so that was enough, you know, and against a hard, tough team to play, and you know, we screwed up an opportunity to really get a great win right there.
Can you walk me through the play you're mentioning, the type of play where the plays over the middle that you said were repeated a couple of times?
Yeah, sure.
What are they trying to do offensively, and what are you trying to do to stop that?
It's a good question because people don't understand how this works. What's happening is there's a variety of ways that people can put routes in front of the linebackers when you're playing zone, and then they wrap receivers in behind them. And they look to see whether or not, you know, you stay deep and hold your depth and force them to throw the ball underneath or not, or you respond to the guys underneath you. That's the whole idea.
So you're putting pressure on the linebacker, essentially, to make a decision?
It's inside defenders, yeah, basically. And if they have a chance to hold the ball to see it, then they can, you know, the initial drop of the linebacker, and they feel the inside the pass defender bite up, then they can throw the ball behind them. And that happened about 4 times in the game, and all different varieties. It wasn't the same route, you know, it was different stuff, and it just caught us, and we were in different coverages too. We weren't in the same coverage every time. We were in a variety of different things that we played, and it got different guys. And so I'm really disappointed because in the league, one of the things you have to do is you have to fix your problems, you know, from week to week, because the teams study everything and they see every play, and they know, you know, where they want to try you, and they want to see is that issue still available for them. And that's, you know, it wasn't anything overly creative on their part or anything ingenious. It was just basic stuff that we didn't play well enough, and we have to. The under coverage has to fit with the rhythm of the pass rush, and they've got to hold and defend until the ball gets, you know, is declared, and we have to hold. And it wasn't there wasn't really long rhythm routes, you know, but they were full rhythm routes, and we got too antsy and jumped up and got out of our passing lanes.
Just so I understand the difference between a long rhythm and full rhythm, are you saying a long rhythm would be, you know, a go pattern, something deep down the field?
No,
what's the difference?
It's how long the guy holds the football.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
so okay, got it. So how long the quarterback is in the pocket and able to kind of stare down what he wants to do.
Mike, it's just a beat longer, you know, and it's when he has to throw the ball right, back foot hits, boom, got to throw the ball, or he gets back there, sits, and then gets to declare. That little time difference there is, you know, about a half a second, and that's where you can, you know, there's a difference. And if we allow the quarterback to be comfortable there, then, you know, they can expose you if you falter, which we did, and they took advantage of it.
Years ago, I always used to think that baseball was the best sports radio conversation because of all the second guessing and all the things you could do, but in so many ways, football makes for so many interesting conversations because of what you just said. You've got a problem with this one route that seems, or this one concept.
Yeah.
And is it the safeties? Is it the linebackers that's affected by the pass rush? The idea of trying to figure out what's happening is so challenging, I think, for a layperson. I imagine that has to be right at the top of your to-do list this week to try to figure out what level of your defense is the best way to stop this thing.
Well, no, it's our execution. We have to execute better. These are not principles that aren't fundamental to us. They're basic to us. We're getting antsy in our setups and our coverage, and we're biting on stuff that we don't need to bite on. We need to hold off and be more patient and make the ball get thrown underneath us. I mean, we've been doing this for years, and unfortunately, we haven't. From a couple weeks ago, we saw it, and then it came back to get us again, and we've been working on it too. That's the part that's disturbing to me. We're focusing. It's a focused area for us, and we didn't get it done. So what this is a work in progress, and we got to get better. And unfortunately, as it kills us, we had to give up a game to get to this next step.
Last thing on this, and I know it's a tough question to answer, but do you have the right talent? Do you have the right players to defend this type of stuff?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Elsewhere, Jamal Adams has been a big conversation today, and just sort of generally, how is he playing for you right now?
Well, he got himself in a situation where that deep ball that was thrown, he was deeper than the guy that was running the route like he was supposed to be, and I think because it was Deshaun Jackson, who is the guy, their bomber, I think he took off. Jamal took off to guarantee that he wouldn't get beat deep, and the ball's well underthrown, and it's just a funky play. It's a funky play, and unfortunately, nobody else could help him, and we had the guy double covered at that time, and unfortunately, they make a huge play out of it, and then they come right back, and he gets a one-on-one route, and he gets beat in the corner, and that's football. That's what happened.
I know how much you like Deshaun Jackson. I've heard you talk. We talked about him a few years ago and how you wanted to get him at USC, right? I mean, like he's been someone you've liked for a long time. So
yeah, he's a very talented player, and he always was, coming out of high school, and when he was a sophomore in high school, you could tell,
How about the usage with Jamal Adams? I mean, last year he was rushing the passer, it seems, so much, 7, 8, 9 times a game, and I saw a stat today. He's only rushed the passer 17 times so far this year. Are you using him differently this year?
No, not necessarily. We're using him more specifically in some stuff that we've been able to develop, but no, and there's, pressures have to do with opportunities with formations and things like that too, and whether they give you the chance to bring a guy in when you're in that position. And so he's in every game plan. His number was called. He got moved out of some stuff because of formations and things like that where he didn't get to come. But we still want him to rush. We still want him to be part of it. Yeah.
What about Bobby? What have you seen from him so far this year?
Well, he's had a highly productive year, numbers of tackles and all. Bobby's in the firing line there, in some of the calls that are coming in the middle, and he's got to help us on those just like everybody else that gets his chances. Jordan, is continuing to grow with as he's learning. It's amazing how you have to be so right, and when you're young and you're new, a false step here, a flinch the wrong way, and you can be taken advantage of, and that's just the growing pains, and we just have to keep working it with both those guys.
On the other side of it, Darrell Taylor, I heard you talk about him last night. It sure seems like he brings an explosive element to that pass rush right now.
He definitely does, and he's doing a nice job. He's learning his stuff. He's growing. He's going to be a bigger factor as we continue to develop him. It is always the case now with the young guys that you have to live with the errors that happen because as they grow through stuff, and it's like the most subtlest of things, and he's one of the young kids that's learning and growing, and he's going to be a fantastic player.
What do we know about Russell this morning?
He's getting after it this morning. He's already traveling to get looked at by a specialist to make sure that we know exactly what we need to know, and so the decisions can be really clear. We've talked a half dozen times since the game was over already, and I'll be there, on the phone with him when he's getting his, the opinion from the docs and all that. So we don't know enough yet.
There's been a report out that it's and I hesitate to say this on the air, a mallet finger. Does that sound right, that this is a mallet finger issue?
It could be that. Yeah, it is. That's one of they got to make sure and check that stuff out and declare that officially from the specialist.
Do you have a sense yet as to how long he could be out if he's going to miss time?
No, there would be no point in making mention of that. He has not seen the doc yet that he's going to see that's going to determine really the significance of this and all that. But what you should know is that I don't think Russ slept a minute last night in his efforts to try and get all the information he could and get set up for today, and so that we can get things underway and all of that. He'll do everything you can possibly do, and he'll maximize the opportunity to get back as soon as possible, because that's just what he's always done. Russell's never missed a football game in his life. I mean, Pee Wee football, Pop Warner, whatever you want to call it, Little League, all the way through high school and college, in the NFL for 10 years. He's not missed a game. So this is a crushing development for him to have to deal with, because he just has never, he's never been there before. But he is attacking it all full on, and if he could have thrown the ball last night, he would have.
Yeah, so I got to imagine that's the deciding factor. I mean, it's certainly not his toughness. We saw him play through an MCL injury a few years ago. He's as tough as a football player could possibly be in terms of handling pain. So it's not a pain issue, right? It's just a matter of, can he physically use that finger?
Yeah.
I would imagine the middle finger is awfully important to throwing a football.
Sure it is. That comes, the last flick comes off those two fingers right there, and then that's where the control comes from, and also the zip. So. I've been through this before. I'll give you. I don't know if you have time for this story, but Drew Bledsoe at the Patriots, we had a game in similar fashion, followed through and hit his index finger though. This is Russell's middle finger, and he was going to take the next play, and he stopped, and we called timeout. He came walking over. He says, I can't feel my finger, and so we talked about it, and do you think he can go in? And he said, okay, yeah. So he goes back in and throws a ball that wobbles like crazy, and then we come out, and in between the series, we're talking about it, and he says, I don't know, man, I'll try. And it was right at the end of the game, and I think it was Houston or something, I don't know. And he has to come back. We have to come back in the game to win the football game in the fourth quarter. And he throws a couple balls, and the ball's going all over the place, and can't control it. We get a PI that sets up a chance at a touchdown play. He comes out, throws the ball to the seam receiver, and the ball goes to the wide receiver outside. What was his name? Jefferson, and he goes up the sidelines, makes a play. We kick the ball. We win the football game, and he didn't even throw it to the same guy that caught it, And he had surgery and played the next week, and it didn't work out, but he did everything he could. So I mean, I've been through this before. Matter of fact, to go a little bit farther, during the week on Wednesday's practice, he had surgery on Monday, and he was going to try to play with it. They said he could try, and they had to figure out which finger, how to shoot up his hand, with the medicine. And so there was two choices. So what we did was he took the choice that he was going to experiment on Wednesday and would not practice the rest of the week. And so I took the shot in the other finger, or the other way, that you could shoot it, and threw with him in practice that day. So we're both throwing the ball with numb hands, trying to figure out what's the right way to do it. And we needed to experiment some way, so he and I did it together and figured out his way was better. I couldn't throw it for nothing, and so he did everything he could too in that situation. So we've been through this, and Russell will handle this as well as it can be handled.
Sean Jefferson, I think.
Sean Jefferson, there you go.
I remember Sean Jefferson. Yeah. Pretty good play. Went from San Diego, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's coaching ball.
The rhythm of the offense, though, even before Russ got hurt, I mean, as a casual observer, it didn't seem to be as in sync as maybe you wanted it to be.
It's felt, if you look at the games, there's been portions of it that look great, but if you look at the games, we haven't really found the rhythm that's been consistently throughout, and that's they're still working at it, and we've been explosive, we've made plays, we had great opportunities, we were behind them last night a couple times, and we were working with the running game, but it's the consistency that we're all looking for, and throughout the game. And unfortunately, it hasn't quite been there, and so it's just again, long season, and we're working, and we got to keep working to get better. Fortunately, Gino came in and really sparked us, in his attempts, and we can do everything that we do with Russ with Gino. Gino's magnificent at understanding the system and all of that. You could tell that, and we'll just keep putting it together and see if we can get it right. It'd be great to get Chris back. It's a big factor. I did think Alex played well and did a nice job again, and was effective in the game, but. I agree that it doesn't feel it's not as smooth as we like it to be.
So what happened when Gino came in? Because it did seem to give you an immediate lift. I mean, it's a 98-yard touchdown drive. And what was different during that drive?
Well, we were in full tempo. We were going as fast as we could go, and because we were a 2-score game, so that's what you saw. And the defense plays differently in those situations. They're trying to keep it from happening fast, so you can take advantage of that. And Gino was there at the moment and was able to do that. And so it's a little bit different game right then.
How about DK Metcalf yesterday battling Jalen Ramsey for much of it? I mean, it seemed like those two guys were just getting after each other.
Yeah, I thought it was a great battle. It was really physical, and I thought DK did really well. Was a huge factor in the game. Great. The great touchdown pass Russ hits him with, that was magnificent timing and rhythm and toughness and all of that. And then he had a couple of the really tough plays that, they're hitting the hell out of him, and he's going, he's falling forward and lunging on every one of them. I thought it was a really cool game for those guys.
I heard you say last night you've never seen the double punt before. I don't think Joe or Troy had seen it before. I don't think Dave or Rabel had ever seen the double punt before. So I know Dixon had no idea it was legal. Did you know it was legal? Did you know the rule?
Honestly, I did not know it. I called in this morning to get through because I've never seen it before. I've never seen that happen. And I mean, that's a lot of football. I've not seen that ever occur. And the marvelous tempo that Mike demonstrated when he scooped the ball up, I think the ball was spinning. He scooped the ball up and then just looks and says, now I got to kick it. Decides to kick it all in a flash of an instant. And then to kick it's like the Willie Mays catch, at the Polo Grounds. It's not the catch, it's the turn and the throw. After he scoops it up, the marvelous play that he get that done. And then to make a kick and kick the ball, whatever it was. I don't know what the net and the kick was, but it was
60-something yards. I mean, he crushed it.
Yeah, it was an amazing play. And that takes him all the way back to when he was a little kid playing rugby and all that when he was growing up. And it was really, I think that's as good a play as you can see in the game.
Well, in his biggest moment, he did what it is he does. And we talk a lot about identity, and you and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago of trying to really determine what that identity is. What do you fall back on now? You have a long week. What do you spend this week working on to be the Seahawks and play Seahawks football?
Yeah, Mike, we have to clean up, continue to clean up stuff so that we can. It's about being really precise, and the teams are so good that if you make an error, they take advantage of it. If you're off a step, if you just don't quite hit your fit, the running back makes 5 yards, and we have to be just better at everything that we're doing, and so that's just the challenge of the season, and sometimes you're fortunate to get off with a really good start and hit it, and this is not a great start for us, obviously, and we have to clean stuff up across the board, and so that they're not. The same issues don't show up. That's when we're really not doing well, is when you see the same problem continue to show. And that's something that pisses me off, and it always has about the game. You know how it works, and you have to fix your problems and to make progress. And so, here we go.
Are you close?
I think we're really close. Yeah, I think we should have won the game last night. I felt like we should win the game, and the screwy play that breaks out, we did a marvelous job on third down last night on defense. They converted 2 third downs on defense. They've converted 4 in the last 2 weeks. We've made a huge improvement right there. And 2 of the ones last night were back to back, and one of them was the play before the long play, and that was it. So I like our short yardage stuff. There's some things that we're doing that's better than we've done in the past. We need to do more of it.
Coach, you get the weekend without a game this week. You get a long week, or essentially the mini bye before Pittsburgh. So sounds like you got some work to do. Looking forward to seeing it out on the field.
We're going to max it out. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. There you go. There's Coach Carroll, who takes the time with us day after every single Seahawks game, and you think you hear very clearly from him what he's upset about. You don't hear the coach say Pete off very often, right? Pretty rare to hear Coach talk like that, and he's clearly frustrated by whatever is happening on this same play. Why the linebackers can't seem to make the right decision, why the safety and linebacker mesh point or whatever you want to call that just seems to be off. He's pointing at that one thing. Yeah, the offense is a little out of rhythm, according to Pete. Yeah, you got issues here, there, but it's this one concept that seems to just be driving them nuts. So point at that for one, and then you hear him, he doesn't know yet on Russell Wilson, but I don't know if you heard, that didn't sound good.
It didn't. The hesitation did not sound or feel good.
No, and you're not going to know for sure until after he sees the specialist. He's on his way to L.A. to do that right now. So by Pete's press conference later today, you'll hear it right here on 710 ESPN Seattle. You'll know a little bit more, but I'm starting to prepare for a little Geno Smith action, that's for sure. Starting to prepare for what this thing looks like with Geno Smith if he ends up going against Pittsburgh next week.
Hang on, before we leave, end on something positive.
Oh, what's that?
Say something positive. We need something to leave here that we feel good about. Spin the wheel. What's it going to be?
It's the weekend.
Okay. Nothing else?
It's Friday afternoon. The
Seattle
Kraken start
first
next
game next week,
on
yeah.
Tuesday. John Buchacross going to join us before the Kraken start. I don't know. Pete says they're close. Hopefully he's right and they get this thing fixed sooner rather than later. Here's something else positive. Jake and Stacy coming up next. They'll be joining you guys in about 5 minutes. We'll catch you Monday morning, 6 a.m. Have a good weekend, everybody. See ya.